welcome to Mosports. We're very glad to see you once again. It is a Friday afternoon and we are going through all the important information that came out of world football during the week and leading up to what's happening this weekend. My name is Mo and this is Obi Knows, our in-house sports analyst. And these days, he's not just a sports analyst, he's a football fan. Because when it comes to Liverpool, when it comes to Kaiser Chiefs, it's a very touchy subject for the boy.
Me, Kaiser Chiefs.
Okay, Orlando Pirates.
Me.
Okay, Bloom Celtic.
Yes.
All right, that's the one. So if you want to catch more sports, you can check us out on Facebook or on YouTube. It's as easy as going on those platforms, searching for Super TV, and you can stream us live. And don't forget, while you're watching us, to SMS Super TV to 30978. Now, let's move on with the show. Let's start talking about what's coming up. In fact, that's not my job. I was about to jump people's things. Obi knows.
Yes,
what's going on today's show?
Well, on today's show, we'll be taking a look at some of the headlines that have hit the world of football. We'll also be taking a look at the Olympics. Of course, the under-23s, the South Africa under-23 team went out to play against Japan in Tokyo and they lost. So we're going to have a bit of an interview as well with a sports analyst by the name of Kefuwe Mahlangu and hear what his views were in yesterday's game. But before we get to that, we kick it off with the news first. And at the top of the headlines is, of course, the late Ian Palmer. Former Orlando Pirates striker and former Orlando Pirates assistant coach, has been in the rounds when it comes to coaching in South African football. He's been part of Santos, he's been part of Maritzburg United. He has traveled almost every province in South Africa and coaching almost every team or any team you can think of, including the likes of Manning Rangers over the years. So yesterday the news were broken by Orlando Pirates. Orlando Pirates rather broke the news of the passing of their former striker and former assistant coach. And they didn't make it clear as to what the cause of death was. But we are aware that Mr. Palmer, he's retired from football quite early due to some kidney problems. And after having a kidney transplant in 2016, we don't know really how his health has either deteriorated or what, but he was meaning to make a return to PSL and coaching in the PSL come next season. Unfortunately, nothing materialized for the coach, but yes, yesterday we did hear of the news of the late Mr. Ian Palmer. We'd like to send our condolences to the Palmer family.
All right, Obi knows. What can we say?
Yeah.
But let's move on. Let's talk about Brighton Mhlongo and his eye surgery. How's that been going?
Well, we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. We did say that he was in training with TTM when a ball hit him in the eye, and we did say that it kind of caused him to lose his vision for a few minutes, and he thought it would be something that would last a couple of minutes and he's gonna get over it. But it turned out to be a little bit more serious. It meant that he won't be able to see with his his left eye rather. And yesterday he posted a picture of himself in surgery. Was after surgery. He had a patch on his eye. It did look like he would be done anytime soon, right? But the one thing I can say about the surgery, after we read a few articles a couple of weeks ago when he did mention going to surgery, he said that chances are that this surgery could help him come back to football because he had to retire prematurely because he can't see with one eye. So for a goalkeeper, we know how important that is. In fact, for any player, we know how important that is, being able to see the ball properly. Hopefully, this surgery goes well and it does rather allow him to come back into the fray.
Well, those are things that happen, but Obi knows there's the biggest question that everybody has on their lips. PSL kalaning fit. Because we want to know.
We don't know. So, having read up on some of the articles that have been written by some of well-renowned journalists in South Africa, they're also not sure. I mean, the PSL only has mentioned that in August, that's when we're starting. Right? And August is next week, right? Next week or next week is August. We haven't heard as yet.
The PSL are treating us like the president. We're waiting for a dinner date now, waiting for a family meeting for us to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because now they're like, maybe Sakala, then Letolesha, my fourth way. Let's wait. You know what I mean? But yet again, as football fans, it's kind of frustrating because we know when everything else is starting. We know that the Premier League is starting when. We know, why is PSL playing? Or maybe, hopefully, they will surprise us.
With what?
Imagine now the PSL just comes out and says, guys, literally 16 was Premier. It was very immature of us.
More teams.
More teams!
Nah. We'll have to wait and see, what the court judgment is firstly. The courts are still have given to judge whether Sekhukhune are definitely the champions of NFD. I mean, we still don't even know that even now.
So
we are
to add over this whole situation, just make it 20 teams.
Well, with the way that the PSL and the Royal AM are going at each other, I don't think there's going to be a resolution that is going to make both parties happy. You know, it's just an observation. It's not factual. It's just an observation from what I'm seeing. I'm seeing two parties that are going at each other hammer and tongue. You know, to see who has the better, you know, team, the best legal team. You know, who bambas this kundla. You know what I'm saying? So I do think it's going to be a huge battle, and Royal AM don't seem like they're going to let up. So we have to just wait and see what happens in terms of, you know, the revelations rather from the court cases, and hopefully it will be something that will be done imminently, so we can, you know, kick off the PSL season already.
All right, so the sky's the limit, according to those from Mamelodi, and as we know, the Brazilians will never shy away from the transfer window, and at this point, they announced their 6th signing.
Yeah, the 6th signing, and we did talk about the 6th signing on Wednesday. It is Fiso Mgoveni, who signs from Bloemfontein Celtic. They obviously made it official on their social media pages this past week, and this comes after a couple of signings. They did mention that they brought in a striker from Slovenia by the name of Pavel Safarenko.
According to your dismay. No, I've never seen someone's credentials questioned like the way you questioned him that day.
No, man, it's a question. I mean, you
made me feel like his CV just said he's European. And like it was a whole page, it was like he's European. That's why we need him.
That's that. Look, I had to look at the numbers, and actually he has much. If you're comparing the amount of games he's played and the amount of goals he has scored, he's very close with Samir Nukovic. Nukovic slightly better than you know, Safarenko, but of course Sundowns will be hoping that he can actually produce once he gets, you know, here to South Africa.
Yeah, no, Nukovic. What trophies has Nukovic won it?
Ah, boy,
Carling Cup maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Didn't they win it last
Carling Cup?
No, boy. Paris won it.
Guys,
no.
I live in the same hood as the champion coach. That man will let you know, oh, he choose again, on my watch. Remember when he became the champion coach, the whole hood had to know about it. Because everybody was like, there's over the TV. And we all saw it was super sports. Over the TV. You want to match it. I am the champion coach. So maybe they won that one. We don't know, because, you know, the champion coach will decide. But let's talk about Cape Omoya. Oh, you know, what's happening there? Any news?
Well, big news is that the club is closing down. They've sold their status to Venda Football Academy. I tried to reach out to Venda Football Academy and hear what their side of the story is when it comes to this, but they did say they'll get back to us, so hopefully we can have them on the show soon. Yeah, they've sold their status, so they're no more Atlet Africa side. And a couple of the players as well who are, you know, PSL experienced, the likes of Mark Mayambe, like we're talking about Tsepo Gumete, Elazar Rogers, and Michael Morton. Surprisingly so, all three of the four all played for Orlando Pirates at some point in their careers. But right now they remain clubless, and we're actually going to be jumping on to the next topic. Mark Mayambela has been spotted at Swallows FC. He's trying out his luck there. Alongside George Libisi.
Josh Milk.
Alongside George Libisi, who, you know, has not been playing football for quite some time. And of course, Brendan Truter had to come out and say something about this. And this is what Mr. Truter had to say in terms of you know, the signings that have come in not the signings rather, but the try lists that he has. We've got a graphic that will come up right now. He says, George Libisi has not played football for a long time, but you can see the quality is there. We cannot say much for now. We want to give him a chance to work on his fitness and try to bring him into good shape. He's a quality player, you cannot doubt it. He has shown his quality already at training. So that's Mr. Truter opening up, you know, about this George Libisi situation. And George, of course, he's been looking for a club ever since he came back to South Africa. He's been back for over a year, as you can hear. And, you know, nothing has really, you know, fell into him. I mean, there was, if I'm not mistaken, he also had a trial at TTM. Not quite sure how that ended up. But yeah, as it stands right now, he is clubless, but he is trying to push his luck at Swallows. And we are aware that Morocco Swallows, or Swallows FC rather, have quite a few veteran players in there. They've got Leboga Mukwen, who's the captain. They've got Vuyo Miri, you know, players who went down out of the radar in terms of PSL football, and they came back into the fray with Swallows. So a lot of players have been given a chance, and Jumael, we spoke about him as well, who were given a chance at Swallows. So hopefully these two players will also be getting their chance.
So at this point, Swallows is the Juventus of South African football. No, we need to be honest about it, because everybody that is anyone who's not been playing football for a while, even who's writing a book at this moment in time, has been flirting with Swallows. I feel like everyone who's just like sitting there in their 30s and like, but why did I stop playing soccer? They just call Swallows. They're like, yo, what's happening? Connie Space Lab.
Yeah.
But it makes sense, because when you look at football, bro, you play football as a child, then you're a teenager, then you're a young adult, and then you retire as a young adult. You haven't got into the mind frame of adulting yet. You haven't got into the mind frame of what would I do without the football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All these guys do is play football. I remember one time some iconic legend of South African football once said is that as a footballer, it's like working at ShopRite. Except when you get fired at ShopRite, no one knows. When you get fired in soccer, everyone knows because you're working in the television space. So looking at how these guys are let go and how they sing at home, and we're just like, they have money, they must relax. We don't understand the dynamics of what's happening in their personal life. So I understand why Swallows is opening up their doors to these guys. And look at them. They were able to leave Black Africa by doing the same exact thing.
The same thing, yeah.
So they might even go to the continent doing this exact same thing.
And to be honest, Swallows have been doing it for quite some time. They've been doing it for quite some time. I remember a time Lerato Shabangu was also playing at Swallows, after his fallout at Mamelodi Sundowns. And, it's a team that has always given players a second chance, and of course they're also getting their second chance in the PSL, so it's only fair, to make it a full circle, And I'm very glad to see it happening actually with Swallows bringing in. They had the Dihang Mabalanes in those days, so I'm glad to see that they're continuing with that, tradition of being able to give people second chances and having some veteran players among some of the young players in there.
All right, let's leave the Dubai Birds alone and let's go talk about Evaya Orlando. Who knows? Have they released a kit that will match that song?
They have. I don't know. Look, I don't know what the Pirates fans are feeling about this one, but this is a very nice kit. I like it. And
let's see.
I mean, the print of the Pirates logo.
They've done this before.
They've done that before, right? But before it wasn't something that you would see from just the glance. You'd have to look very close.
You have to touch it.
You'd have to look at it very close. But this time around, of course, they're having that. A Pirates bones, skull and bones. Very visible. But I think it's a very beautiful kit, nonetheless. I don't think they could have done slightly better. There's no way where I feel like I could correct them or in any way.
But you don't have a lot to work with when you talk about the Pirates' home kit, because now, imagine now you're at Adidas, you're in charge of the Pirates' home kit, and all the boss says to you, it must be black.
Yeah, well.
Not much to do. No stripes, no graphics. The worst you can do is,
It's not a bad kit.
But last season's kit though.
Last season kit, which one? The home or the away?
The one with just the bones, Jay. Without the I think the bones
that was hot.
Changed the whole thing. That
was hot. That kit, I think that kit was hot. I mean, of course, a lot of fans would be asking, how is Funi Star? Is Funi Star said to, but I think that kit was a very beautiful kit. And for them to come with this one. Yeah, to come with this one as well, I think it's still a brilliant kit nonetheless.
All right, let's move to the Egyptian Premier League real quick. Let's just take...
Got an away kit as well for Pirates.
Wait, there's an away kit?
Yeah.
What did you tell me?
What do you mean, bro? They released an away kit. They released an away kit.
Lodge.
There you go. There's Lodge there. There's Epichele and Halachwayo.
Must stop calling him like that. Only because here at Mosports, you guys keep butchering my name.
Halachwayo. So this is not blue. Apparently, this is a mint.
Turquoise.
No, so if you're looking at how Pirates released it and what they're saying on their social media pages, it's mint. It's not blue. It's not. I do think that it's a very beautiful kit. I like the black one a little bit more because it's tradition Orlando Pirates. It reminds me of a time when Pirates came with that red kit and everyone was questioning like, Puma Whoopie red. Puma Whoopie red. I guess the same question would be asked, Puma Whoopie blue. But nonetheless, it's still a very beautiful kit.
Maybe the same guy who does the home kit is not the same guy who does the away kit at Adidas. He's just like, where's Man City's old kit? Bring it here. Change the color, we eat. You know what I'm saying? But let's move on to the Egyptian Premier League and see what's popping over there. Just quickly, just Rabaki. Then we're out. Why don't you tell me that we're not ready like that?
That's okay.
These guys.
It's okay.
Let's talk about AHLY, guys. But what we do have for you is what's happening with AHLY. Now, at this moment in time, what we know is they say, if AHLY drop points, they must corporate the league. So no more travel, no more quadruple. They'll become mortals yet again. Yeah. And what did they go on and do, Obinos, in the league?
They drew last night. An unfortunate one. I mean, they drew their game last night, playing 1-1, conceding in the last minute of the game. And they shorting, at the defense, they don't have their number one goalkeeper. He's in the Olympics, played against Spain as well. They played 0-0 that side. Taufik as well, their right back, he's also part of that Olympic squad that gone to, so at the back, I'd say they lost, two important players, but still doesn't mean that the quality has to drop, to an extent. I think they should have done a bit better. And it's unfortunate that they had to pick up a draw, because now the draw means that if they win the remainder of their 3 games, games, because they only have 3 games in hand now. If they win all 3 games, they're equal on points with Zamalek. But the chances are that they might have a much better goal difference. So they might also be at the top of Zamalek. So at this point, of course, they need to focus on winning the remainder of their games in hand, and also winning the remainder of the games in the league as well.
You know, the most frustrating thing about this whole story is the fact that as a team like Zamalek trying to win a league that you haven't won in a while because of AHLY, these guys go on to win the Champions League, you watch them celebrate on TV, they come back, they draw, and they can still end up being level on points with you, and the season is not yet over. It's the most frustrating thing, because when you look at it, why were these guys not given a congested schedule? They're playing all these competitions, they deserve to have a congested schedule, and it hurt them, and it's hurting, and it must be hurting Zamalek for real. But let's take a break, because we have an important conversation coming up with Kefuwe Mahlangu.
You are watching Super TV.
How to register a new SuperBets account. SMS Super TV to 30978 and you will receive an SMS with a sign-up link. Click the link you receive, which will direct you to the SuperBets mobile site. Click login. On the pop-up, click register now. Fill in the required details on the form, from your ID number all the way to your contact details. Be sure to choose a strong password that you will remember. After filling in your details, click submit. In a few minutes, you should receive an OTP if your details were entered correctly. Back onto the SuperBets mobile site, type in your OTP. In a few seconds, you will receive a welcome SMS confirming your new account. A 50 Rand sign-up bonus will reflect in your account within 24 hours of your sign-up. Welcome to our family. SuperBets, bet with the biggest.
Ipondo, no problem. Now ungapopa with SuperBets. Simply SMS Super TV to 30978 and start playing.
Coming together was just the beginning. And as Mzansi's first, Super TV has continuously been your place of infotainment, inspiration, live gameplay fun, and of course, the most authentic moments to light up your TV screens. Coming together is the beginning. Creating together is the process. Keeping you entertained is our success. This year, we continue to be your inside edge, your gaming guide, your place to play with confidence 24/7. This year, Super TV continues to bring you more. You are watching Super TV.
Cece, why so jealous? Just SMS Super TV to 30978 and get lucky yourself.
Big dog status, I'm a big dog vet. I pull up on the block in a big Corvette.
In the beginning, there was SuperBets. Then there was Super TV. Your inside edge, your gaming guide, your place to play.
You are watching Super TV.
Welcome back to Mosports. Now, we are joined in conversation by Kefuwe Mahlangu, who is a sports analyst. So much so that he even analyzes American football. He says he doesn't do the MLB because who does that? And he also looks at other sports, including basketball, women netball, including soccer. But today we're having him for a conversation around the beautiful game, which is football. Kefuwe, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. And you, Mo?
I'm good. Yes, but brother, let's talk about the Olympics. Let's start that conversation there because I don't want to start about other sports because we're talking about other sports off air, but we're here to talk about football. So let's talk about the Olympics. So far, we've seen South Africa in action, we've seen Japan in action, and we saw Japan beat South Africa 1-0 thanks to Kubo. What are your thoughts?
David Notwane is not good enough at this level. No, but it's just sad to say. It's not good enough because you could see that there was no link between, you had a link between defense and midfield, and there was no link between attack and midfield. And Luther Singh was literally, all these players were literally telling him where they wanted to play. Kale was always tucking in, so he should have just played a 5-3-2 or played Luther just in behind Mahopa, who was always almost alone. So to occupy that number 10 space so he can have that link. And Luther, immediately when he was moved to a number 10 position, he looked amazing. So, but Musela was also supposed to be taken off very early, and that wasn't done. It's just his in-game management was poor. Mabiliso and Frosler weren't offering anything going forward, and they were very poor. So you should have just taken it back to a back four. I mean, because the whole thing of having wing backs is so that they can offer you something going forward, and they offered us nothing.
Wow, okay, no, okay, calm down. Have you drunk your coffee today or water, at least something, some form of liquids? Because I can hear that there's a lot of frustration that came out of that game. But let's be realistic. Japan had some very experienced players in there. They had Abo Endo, they had Maya Yoshida. They had some experienced players. What are our chances realistically before the game of winning it?
Now, our chances were good had we played on the front foot. I mean, immediately when Kobamelo was brought on and Muselo was taken off, they brought Kale into the midfield. Luther was moved into the 10. Mahopa just looked great from the first moment. Our defense looked immaculate. Malepe, Lefleurs looked so impressive. But they weren't given the chance, and especially Lefleurs when it came to counterattacks, when it came to breaking down counterattacks. You should have just played a back four. We had a chance. We could have just played through them, but our midfield couldn't keep onto the ball for long enough. So we had a realistic chance had we won this game, but now our chances aren't that great.
So do you think that South Africa is missing that key ingredient, which is Percy Tau?
Yes and no.
Okay.
To be honest, I'd say no. I'd say it's tricky because Percy Tau is so he'd also play as a 10, but what would the coach do now if he can't even play Luther, who's almost the same as Percy Tau, almost as a player in terms of stature and how he plays? If he can't play him where he's supposed to play him, would he have played Percy Tau where he was supposed to play?
Okay, that's a question to me. I don't quite know at this point in time, but I think maybe there might be similar players in stature, but you have to understand that maybe the coach has a philosophy that he's trying to implement, and sometimes players need to adapt into systems. I mean, we see it all the time in Europe when players are taken out of one team into another, and they change from playing a number 10 to playing a central midfielder, box-to-box midfielder. Isn't it always a situation of it's what the coach demands, not what the player can offer?
Yes, that's why I said David Notwane is not good enough for this level. He reminds me of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Bad game management. I mean, our first substitute was in the 70th minute, 70-something minute when we weren't even, we were being dominated the entire game. Why do you make your first substitution in the 70th minute? Ngobo comes on in the last minute. It was all up to David Notwane and he just didn't show up.
All right, so we play Mexico and France next. What are our chances? Are you hopeful that we will go on without conceding goals?
France is that team that we always have a good chance with, you know, whenever we meet them in these big tournaments, and especially now that France has left. I mean, if France actually brought their A team, the actual under-21s here, it would have been game over for a lot of these teams. I mean, Konate, Upamecano, Chouameni, Kakaret, Diaby. It's just a lot of quality in that under-21 team, and then they just left them at home. They brought Gignac, so we might have a chance. We might get a result, maybe a draw, and then against Mexico, what Linus did to France.
So let's talk about the game that pitted Europe against South America. We're talking about Brazil versus Germany that ended 4-2. Richarlison getting himself a hat trick in the first half. What do you think of your game? What are the thoughts around that game?
Brazil just dominated Germany. The triangles, the passing, the movement. It was just such a beautiful thing to see Brazil play beautiful football, and they had a midfield that can actually control and dominate a game. I mean, they had Douglas Luiz, they had Gomares. Douglas Luiz can break down play and he can still dictate the game of the pace of the game, as we've seen what he does in Aston Villa. So, I mean, they've just looked amazing, and they plugged key positions which they needed with experience by bringing in Dani Alves, and I forgot the centre back's name, but he plays in Spain. I forgot his name, but also him as well. So they have an amazing chance because I think they have a right balance of experience and youth, and also they also plugged in the positions which they actually needed to plug.
So tell me, are these the favorites to win the gold medal? Are you thinking Brazil will be standing there at the end of this whole thing with a gold medal?
Yes.
Oh, this man, he's not even going to think about it twice. At least have doubt, Nyana.
They were too good. They were too good.
So let's talk about the local game. We all know that Kaizer Chiefs has been announcing signings left, right, and center. Which one of those signings has impressed you, and which ones do you think that Kaizer Chiefs still need to have a good team going into next season?
Who they still need to add?
Yeah.
Okay. They've got Gaugelo Sekgothe, who I think he'll be good. He'll be good. And then Tibedi, who I also think will be good, because Swallows play ball possession football. I don't know if they'll be allowed to do that under Baxter. Still to be seen. Mabili, so I am not convinced what I saw. What I saw from him. But anyway, that's another story. And Hlanti. So midfield they have Ngobo, but they don't have someone that can dominate now. Maybe they'd say it's Nange, but Nange is old. So we'll see what happens. But I'm really not convinced with a lot of the signings that they made. Ngobo is a signing that I'm impressed by, but he's 27, so he's a bit old. So there's a lot of the players that they've signed are actually old. So are they building for the future, or are these players just stopgaps? They're actually just stopgaps, in my opinion. That's what all these players are.
So you think it's a temporary solution, not a permanent solution? You think it's just going to solve next season, then after that they're going to go back into trouble?
Yeah, because, I mean, Nange is 29, Hlanti is getting on in years, Ngobo is 27, let's say he might have 3 years left at the top of the game, but centre backs, depending on how he treats his body, might have even more. But yeah, a lot of it's just not looking great. And even the other centre back they signed from Richards Bay is also 28, so
okay. I think let's just move on, because I want to Kaizer Chiefs. It's already high blood or what. So let's go to Clorcop. Let's go talk about them. That's fine. They've signed Swiso Ngobeni. They have Kutumela coming in. The question is, did they need to reinforce in the first place? Did they need any new players?
With them for the South African game, do you know what? Fergie always added 1 or 2 quality players whenever he was winning, just to keep everyone on their toes. But do I think Kutumela is up there so that he can keep everyone on their toes? No. Maybe you might have to see with this Pavel guy. Maybe he's there to keep Shalulile on his toes. Kutumela, I mean, I'm so surprised in South Africa. You get one good season and all of a sudden everyone wants to sign. I mean, but Swiso Ngobeni he's a very great, promising left back, but why did he go to Clorcop? I mean, it's just gonna be another person that's wasting his potential down there.
Wow, it's a very. Don't you think that now, as Kutumela, you're being signed to the biggest club, not just in South Africa, but in Africa as well? Don't you think it's a good signing for him? Don't you think he goes there and competes with Shalulile?
I failed at Orlando Pirates.
So you don't think you'll make it at Clorcop?
I hope he does. I hope he proves me wrong, but I highly doubt it.
Can we go to Europe now? Are you ready to talk about English football? Because I can see the local game is very personal for you.
No, I mean, we can go into Europe, but it's just, I hope he proves me wrong, to be honest.
All
I really
right.
hope he does.
All right, so let's move on to Europe. As you know, PSG are now the new Galacticos. They're signing every big name possible to go into the season to try and win the Champions League title. They made in first Champions League title. Now, one of the names that's popping up recently also is now Paul Pogba. Do you think that now we should consider that he should leave? I mean, for the past 4 or 5 seasons, all Paul Pogba has done is want to leave Manchester United. So, do you think it's finally going to happen, or do you think he's going to spend another season at Old Trafford?
I think Old Trafford will not allow him to, because now he rejected a contract. So more likely than not, he'll move on. And now, yeah, he'll move on. They'll move him on. They won't want to lose him for free, because at this rate, Pogba is gonna go for free. So rather get something.
So rather get paid for him to leave.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. So let's talk about what's happening with Harry Kane now. Tottenham Hotspur's won around 160 million euros for him, but it seems like Man City are. Let me ask you this question, genuinely. So, where do you think Harry Kane should go?
His best place is City. If he goes to City, it's over for everyone. For him, he gets to win a league title, and he'll win a Champions League title if he goes there, because they'll be unstoppable with him.
Is that your verdict? So Manchester City is where we should expect.
The problem is Manchester United's midfield. They don't have. I mean, Scott McTominay and Fred as your pivots. You can't go get Chouameni from France. Go get Kamavinga, whoever. Just get them there if they really want to challenge. Because that midfield, it will not win you titles. That midfield it can't compete. It can't break down a low block. Them two just playing there, and Bruno plays as a second striker, is not an actual 10, so you can't really also rely on him to break teams down.
So let's move on. Okay, fine. So what if Jack Grealish was to join him at Spurs? Don't you think that would be a good signing for Tottenham, and they wouldn't need to let go of Harry Kane?
Spurs don't have the money to do that, and they're too stingy to do that. And secondly, he already has Son, so Son and Grealish are gonna play on the same side, or they're gonna move Grealish to play as an actual 10. But he likes to dovetail a bit more. He likes that free role. So it's gonna be very difficult to actually to see what's gonna happen. But I doubt Grealish would go there, because if I'm Grealish, I'd rather go to City. Although there might be a lot more competition, but I'd rather go there, because I know that at Spurs, there's not a lot that I'm actually gonna do, because Spurs are just there's not a lot. Besides Gil, I've not seen a lot of rebuilding in terms of what Spurs are actually trying to do. Gil is a very good signing, but he has a lot of potential, but that's for the future. But besides him, in the midfield and in the centre-back positions, they haven't strengthened. So will I be willing to go there when with Aston Villa we looked so good as a team?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Now, here's my bonus question. There's something that I want to ask you on the side. I hope this man is not watching. But Madison to Arsenal, be honest with me. I made a bet here. I might actually lose money. So talk to me. Madison to Arsenal, should I be scared? Should I think that it's going to happen?
You said Madison to Arsenal.
Yes, that's what I said.
That's not happening. Why would I leave a team that doesn't play European football when I'm already playing European football? That's not gonna happen.
All right, thank you so much for joining me here on Mosports. It was a very great conversation. I'll be sure to pass on that message that a player who might be playing in Europe has to leave and go play in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. So let's take a break. When we come back, Obi knows will be joining us here on Mosports to continue the conversation around the beautiful game.
You are watching Super TV. are watching Super TV.
Welcome back to Mosports. Now, if you're just joining us, Obi was wrong and we were all right when we believed that there's no way Madison's going to go to Arsenal. Welcome back to the show. If you're on a stream us live, hold on. Let's tell the people where to find us so they can catch this conversation live.
You can't just papa and then you want me to keep quiet.
No, give it a second. I'm coming back to you.
I'm not going to talk about
Guys, listen, if you want to stream us, you can see this going on Facebook or on YouTube, searching for Super TV, finding Mosports and streaming us live. To hear the end of this conversation, SMS Super TV to 30978. Manje boy, Xabi Alonso.
Oh, yeah? What about you?
Aguero.
Yeah.
Rooney.
Yeah.
They've all been offered Arsenal contracts. Ronaldo. They went to go sit down with the Aviaro family. Arsene himself. He went to go sit down with that family. He's like, can I please have your son? Okay. Where did he go? Manchester United.
Firstly, Wenger was coach. Wenger was
it's a new Arsenal.
It's a new Arsenal. Come on.
With
you can't say that's not a... No, with owners as well. With the Cronkies as well. We can see that the fans are angry. The fans have been angry for the longest time. They want to see some spending. Arsenal are spending. Arsenal are keen to spend. Madison wants to join Arsenal.
All right, fine. I believe him now. But that still doesn't mean I don't believe him. You know what I mean? There are no knowns and unknowns, guys. Just remember that. Let's talk about the Olympic Games because she's a mansion. It's gold medals on the line. Everybody's coming in hot. We heard Kefuwe's thoughts about what's been happening in the game. But Obi knows, talk to me about the Olympic Games.
Yeah, of course. Starting off with what he said about David Notwan, he actually said the same thing to me earlier on. He's like, that guy doesn't deserve to be there. You know, I kind of understand his approach in the first half. I kind of understand his approach because he playing against a team that you know it has a bit of experienced players in there. You know, they've got some young quality players as well. We saw Kefuwe Mahlangu scoring the goal, the only goal rather that South Africa lost by. So I do think that his approach in the first half was very conservative to try and give the boys a chance to be able to get used to the field of play, get used to the atmosphere as well of playing against this team. Get a feel of the game, and we played very well in the first half in terms of defending. I don't think we tried to press them high. When we pressed them high, we went with the 4-4-2, and once we were under attack, we went back into a 5-3-2 formation. So. I do think that he had an idea of what he wanted to do in terms of, trying to, like if you were said, that he wanted to use the wing backs, and the wing backs have to give you something going forward. But that's not what happened. We saw a couple of times Ruud Frosler had a poor touch after receiving a quality pass. So those small things really did, not allow South Africa to get into the final third. But I don't think that, we have a chance. He did say we might have a chance against France. Yes, the French team is not as, as star-studded as, we would know a French national team to be. But I do still think that Bafana Bafana are under the coach. I don't think that they might be able to, compete and get a point at least. I don't think we're going to see that.
All right, so now let's go to the website because we need to just prepare for a second while we go look at the results and fixtures that are taking place in the... What are we talking about? The Olympics?
The Olympics, yeah.
The Olympics, yeah. So let's go do that. People are like, hey, this guy, he even forgot what he's talking about. Let's go to the website. Let's go see it. Don't forget to SMS Super TV to 30978. The thing is, I'm thinking about this at the same time. I'm like, who knows? Let's go find out the match info. Let's go to statistics. Let's go to soccer. Because the Olympic Games, is there no category for itself like Olympic Games? Nah? I think it should have its own category because Olympics is like, at the start of the year when you guys have like inter-house, that's like the Olympics, just that glorified inter-house. Like everybody's gonna play a sport. You play disc, someone's running, someone's swimming, someone's throwing, someone's catching. Let's go, as you can see, Mexico and Japan already picking up all 3 points. So maybe that's why he thinks that South Africa have a chance against France. France have already conceded 3 goals. And how many have they scored? They've only scored 1. They've conceded 4. So the goal difference -3 at this moment in time. So maybe Mzansi might have stand a chance. But the thing is, you don't just go fetch players that lost out in the CAF Champions League final and put them into that 11. They're not red because they still see flashbacks of Sharif. You know what I mean? Now they have to play with that Sharif in their head. They're definitely going to concede goals. But let's move on. Even Obino was saying Ruud Frosler had a bad touch. Maybe the ball was coming, he saw Sharif, was like, yo! The next thing, the touch was terrible. So as you can see, Group B, New Zealand, Romania, all picking up 3 points. Honduras and Korea dropping points. You see, 1-0 results for most of these teams, but France got a -3, so it shows good team. Maybe they're not the France we think they are. Maybe it's just the flag. As you can see, Australia picking up a win, the only win in Group C so far. Egypt and Spain playing out to a draw, while Argentina losing out as well. Don't forget that Messi and them once came to this tournament in Rabat. As you can see, Group D, Brazil, Ivory Coast picking up all 3 points. And we're seeing a theme here when it comes to this competition. There's losers and there's winners. It's straightforward. There's no draws, not a lot of draws going on. We only saw 1 draw so far. Saudi Arabia also dropping points, and Germany dropping points against Brazil and Ivory Coast. So Brazil at this point scoring 4 and conceding 2 against Germany. Let's put the website down. Let's talk about the women's game for a second. What's going on there? Is there the Olympics ladies tournament there?
Yeah, there is, of course there is. And right now, Brazil are back again. They've got the Queen Marta.
On the pitch or the sideline?
On the pitch. What? Boy, you would know if Marta retired. You would definitely know if she retired. And 6-time world champion. She's 36 years old. 6-time world female footballer of the year. This is Marta. And of course, she gives you glimpses of Ronaldinho, doesn't she, when she's playing? But she's not the one who made the headlines. Of course, she scored a brace yesterday, but the big headline goes to Formiga. And Formiga as well, breaking 2 records, if I'm not mistaken, last in the game yesterday. In fact, 3. The Brazilian international made her 30th appearance in the Football Olympics. She also played in 7 consecutive Olympic Games, making her the first to ever do so. She also became the oldest player to feature at the game at the age of 43. And surprisingly, I had to obviously check, what does Formiga mean? Because that's not a real name, of course. And just like the Ronaldinhos, they are Gaucho Mamang, she's also, that's also a nickname for her. And her nickname, Formiga, means ant. And
Ant-man, or Ant-woman in this case.
Yeah, Ant-woman, so I guess because, she's a Taz, you know what I'm saying? She's a Taz.
Brazil is rough with these nicknames. There's Hulk also up in there. Let's go back to the website. Let's go find the women's game, and then we can see how the fixtures and results are looking. So let's go to the website. Let's go find the ladies' game for the Olympics. So let's scroll up. Let's go to Diski. Then we have to select international. Then you have to scroll down until we find the women's game. So Olympics, the women. There we go. As you can see, this is how it's looking. Group E with Great Britain. It's funny how when they go to these tournaments, they're Great Britain. It's not England, Scotland, and Ireland, but there's Great Britain. They picked up all 3 points, while Canada and Japan played out to a 1-1 draw. Chile dropping all 3 points. Let's go down. Netherlands picking up all 3. So is Brazil picking up all 3. China where they 10 goals scored against Zambia for Netherlands. I think I saw this, ne? I did see this because I know that they were leading 3-1 when Zambia scored their first goal, because the Zambian 3 goals that they scored were a hat trick actually from 1 player. So Netherlands went on to score 10 goals. Could have been worse. It was bad. But technically that's...
How worse could it go?
That's 1 goal per... As a coach, I'm thinking to myself, that's 1 goal every 10 minutes. So I'm fine. It's not that bad.
1 goal per play except the keeper.
No, boy, come on, Obino, don't come like that. Don't come like that. Maybe there's another one. Let's go down. As you can see, Sweden playing out to the win, and Australia as well. And then New Zealand also losing all 3 points. Who did they lose to?
New Zealand.
They lost to Australia. It was a clutch match. You can see USA lost out to Sweden.
Surprising as well, right?
Yeah, let's put this away, because it's just wrong. We can't be looking at such things right now. But we need to look at the Gold Cup as well. So should we just stay on the website and go there already? Let's go look for the Gold Cup, Let's go look for that Gold Cup. But it's 10-0, 10-4 in match. That's bad. I remember seeing this, I was like, I love. I didn't know. It's a real thing. I was like, no, this can't be real. Then I saw the celebration. Okay, it is what it is. So this is the knockout phases of the Gold Cup. As you can see, Mexico, Honduras have made it in there. Qatar and El Salvador also in that knockout phase. And then there's Jamaica. They'll be happy because they've been claiming a lot of your English players. They're like, that's our player. Raheem Sterling's ours. But there they are in the knockout phases of the Gold Cup. And Costa Rica versus Canada, that's another team. I mean, those are teams that you can't quite actually see a lot of in the highest levels of the game, but they're still in the quarterfinals of the Gold Cup. So let's put the website away. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. In fact, we'll finish off this debate we're having about whether medicine to Arsenal, maybe it's another medicine.
You are watching Super TV.
blesser. Now ungapopa with Super Bets. Simply SMS Super TV to 30978 and start playing.
You are watching Super TV.
Welcome back to Mosports. If you're just joining us, you missed out on a beautiful chat with Kefuwe Mahlangu. We talked all things South African football, international football, and the English game. And we talked about Madison going to Arsenal. We talked about Harry Kane and Jack Grealish. We talked football. That's what we did. And we have Obi knows here. I mean, if there's anyone who want to talk football with, I mean, you tuned on to Mosports to talk football with this man. I tuned on to Mosports because I also want to talk football with this man. I just feel like at night when I'm sitting there and I'm watching this, I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to say Obi knows tomorrow? You know, I'm always ready for the poet. So, the poet, how you been?
I've been good.
Yeah, so let's talk about Antonio Conte. What's going on there? I heard he got a job offer to coach internationally.
Yeah, he got an opportunity to go back into the international space. And this is obviously after the Netherlands. Not surprised at all, actually. Frank de Boer, he left his post after the 2-0 loss against the Czech Republic, which saw them getting knocked out of the Euros. And of course, they're looking for a man who will be able to sit at the helm. And Antonio Conte, of course, since leaving Inter Milan, he has been offered a job at Tottenham Hotspurs. We do know about that, but he wasn't really happy with the project that Tottenham Hotspurs were trying to do. Clearly, you know, we know Conte for being that coach who steps into a club, wins a trophy, you know, or two, and he wanted to replicate the same thing at Spurs. But I think the reason why he didn't, well, he said that, you know, they weren't ambitious enough. So I'm guessing they were not trying to, you know, fund him, you know, to get more players or more quality to, you know, to get the squad upright. So Netherlands came through, they offered him a job, but he decided to, you know, to make them wait a little bit. He's saying that he's rather waiting for a team, a club, to come and call him up. So he's still on vacation. He's still a coach who, you know, is on the waiting list for many clubs, like I should assume. And Arsenal might also be a destination for him should things not go well with Arteta.
That's a very interesting situation because the moment you said Conte international football, I was thinking Italy.
Yeah.
And I remember those are champions. They have a champion coach.
Exactly.
They're not gonna say,
and they won't bring him back.
They won't bring him back. I mean, looking at where they are right now, they're in a happy place. They're in dreamland. I mean, we see pictures of Chiellini and Bonucci doing crazy things. So much so that Chiellini said, "I know Bonucci more than I know my wife." There's a whole meme on it. I'll send it to you. But at the end of the day, guys, the real reality here is that Tottenham Hotspurs as a project. Are the fans impressed with Nuno being appointed or not? Are they hoping that something will go wrong and Conte will be able to step in? What's going on there? Because as much as you're saying that Conte saying they're not ambitious, I think it's the targets that were setting for him. You know, maybe because when you sign for a club, you always ask them, what is it that you guys want me to achieve? Yeah. And you don't want to hear, you just want top 4. You don't want to hear that.
Yeah,
or we just want top 6. And I think that's what his problem was. Like, look, if I fail here, it's a success.
Yeah.
If I get second, it's like, you know what I mean? But let's talk about Nuno at Tottenham.
I don't think the fans are really, you know, over the moon with the signing of Nuno, you know, because I think one thing that Spurs fans have been complaining about, they've been wanting someone who will take them to the next level. I mean, they've been somber, you know, for the longest time, ever since that chance they got to win the league, and Leicester actually went on to win it, you know, when they lost at Stamford Bridge. You know, so ever since then, you know, they've been wanting someone to take them to the higher level. Of course, they let go of Pochettino, who had taken them to the, you know, Champions League final. Someone whom I thought would have, you know, also
fumbled that one.
He fumbled against Liverpool, a Liverpool side that was, you know, the favourites to win it. I don't think he fumbled. I just think that with what they had given him in that season specifically, he punched above his weight. I mean, already he had not signed a player, doing the same thing that Kaiser Chiefs did, you know, with Kevin Hunt, you know, going through a whole season without signing a player and actually making it to the finals of a continental competition. So I think he overcompensated himself in that season, and for him to lose his job after that was a bit of a disappointment for the fans, for the manager himself. So I don't know if Nuno is the right man to take him to the next level. I do believe that Nuno, what he has done at Wolves, you know, did really grant him the doors to open at Tottenham Hotspurs. I don't think he's a bad coach at all. I do think that he won't win you know, trophies, but he will definitely put them in a space where they'll be able to compete once again in the Champions League.
All right, we know, 30 seconds. What do you think of Paul Pogba's matter?
It's disruptive. Not him specifically, but Mino Raiola. Very disruptive player agent. I think if Pogba really wants to leave, then we should see him leave Man United. With PSG calling as well, I think Man United should cut ties because we can't be having this saga every season. Every transfer window opens, you are worried that Paul Pogba is about to leave. How is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer going to build his team with so much doubt around one of the best players he has in the squad? Let Pogba go.
Oh, this man is a key at starting hashtags. First was hashtag
Pizza to Spurs.
What? Pizza to Spurs. Now his new hashtag is Pogba to PSG. I think that one will be very interesting because that's a Galactico. It's the French version of the Galacticos, except without Perez. I think Perez is angry because he wanted to also sign for PSG so he can be another Galactico era, but they're not allowing him to. They're keeping him in Spain with Real Madrid. Thank you for joining us today on Mosports. We'll see you again tomorrow from 1 to 2 p.m. here on Super TV, powered by Superbets.
You are watching Super TV.
If I could switch lives with anyone, oh my word. Who do I think? To be honest, probably my dog, because all he does is sleep all day, eat, and then sleep some more. Like, that just seems like a great life. So probably my dog. I think my favorite part is to smile on myself and other people because I think it's so nice to like see people smiling and it just brings so much joy. And that's probably the cheesiest thing ever to say. But I think, yeah, people smile and their eyes, yeah. My favorite holiday destination is anywhere in the bush. I love going to game reserves and just being one with nature. So definitely the bush, any nature reserve, that's my favorite place to go. Holly Ray, 5 years from now. Holly Ray has recently started a production company, so hopefully the production company will just be growing to new heights. Really excited about that. Be making a lot more music and just being a badass.